Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Super Lunch Bros Podcast, episode number 79. I am Brendan. All right, so we had UFC over the weekend, Mackenzie Dern versus Marina Rodriguez. We had Tyson Fury taking on Deontay Wilder for the third time. And I mean, that was pretty much it. Those are the highlights. We're going to go over those things. Before I get started, please, if you like what I'm doing, if you like the subject, if you like, hearing about MMA every single week, like, subscribe, all those things, please. I really would appreciate it. It means a lot. The more people that listen to this, the more engagement we get, like the more things I'll have to talk about. And honestly, the more fun this is, knowing that I get to communicate with more people on a regular basis. It's actually super fun. All right. So I am trying out a few new things this week. So bear with me here if I have some technical issues. Hopefully I don't get into too many of them. Yeah, we'll put that over there. So hopefully I don't get into too many of them. One of the things, show you a preview right now, looking at some of the stuff that I'm seeing on the screen, being able to do side by side with that, so you guys can see where I'm getting my information from, that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna. I mean, you guys could look at my notes if you really want to, but it's more just it's easier on the eyes and just instead of just staring at my face. I'm thinking if you guys like this, let me know. If you don't, I'll go back to the way I used to do it. If you'd like to see something different, I could always interact, or I can introduce those things and try to figure that out. But yeah, just got the Elgato Stream Deck and I'm trying it out. Woo! All right, here we go. So, you know what? Let's cover the boxing match first, because I think that would be probably the most talked about thing, the thing that people are most interested in. So let's go over that. Deontay Wilder taking on Tyson Fury for the third time. So obviously the first fight went to a draw with Deontay Wilder dropping Tyson Fury in the 10th round, giving him a 10-8 round. Obviously there was the long count controversy and all that stuff. We'll get back to that in a second. We had some, obviously the better boxer was always Tyson Fury, and a lot of people thought that he won that fight, and they just called it a draw because it's corrupt and they want more money. I tend to be one of those people. Not that I think that, it wasn't a good fight, or it wasn't competitive, or that it wasn't even like an even. That's not what I want to say, because it wasn't competitive. Tyson Fury boxes face off. It's not that I don't understand that, it could possibly be considered a draw if someone made a educated argument. I just never heard it. I heard a lot of people talk about it. Anybody who knew anything said Tyson Fury won. Not a lot of people other than Deontay Wilder fans were calling for that draw or even a win. People are saying Deontay Wilder won that fight. That's not what I saw. So anyway, they have the rematch because obviously at this point, Tyson Fury had not fought for a title in like 4 or 5 years, whatever that time frame was. He had a couple tune-up fights getting ready for this. He lost weight because, he was over 400 pounds, out of shape. He had a lot of mental health problems. It's actually a pretty cool redemption story. Not a redemption story, a pretty cool, human story. This guy has a lot of mental health problems. He almost commits suicide. He's in his car driving very fast, and he's about to drive it off a bridge, and then he said he heard the voice of God. Whatever it is for you, or what's important about this story is that he didn't do it. It's pretty cool that he came back from that stuff. It's not cool that it happened in the first place. It sucks because he was the champ, clearly beating Klitschko, and then he didn't take the mandatory challenge, so they strip him of the belt. It's all a bunch of political crap. It's going to happen again after this, probably because of the person that they say he has to fight. But anyway, in the second, so they have the rematch. Okay, Deontay Wilder is still the champ because you don't lose the belt on a draw. I think it went into the 6th round. It doesn't matter. Fury knocks him out, right? And then obviously he outclassed him in this one. He famously gained weight. He went to Kronk Gym. to learn how to hit with power, or sit down on his punches, be more of a power puncher so he can get Wilder out of there early, because he knew that if he stayed in there, the longer he is trying to dance around and be a good boxer, the more opportunities that Wilder has to land a big, not lucky right hand, but let's be honest, like they're not lucky right hands because he has to put himself in that position, right? So, like, they're calculated, right? They're high risk, high reward right hands. And the more opportunities he has to throw them, the more chances, like, let's say it's a 10%, 1 in 10 land. It's probably it's less than that, but let's say it's 1 in 10 of those land flush, right? If he throws 10 of them in a fight, over a large sample size, he's going to win every fight like that, right? So if he gets to throw 20 of those, now we're talking about like him guaranteeing a win every fight. That's what I'm saying. So in order to mitigate that of giving him more opportunity, he decided to switch camp so he can go for a knockout. And he got it in the second fight. And, again, famously, Deontay Wilder comes out with excuses saying, oh, my walkout outfit was too heavy. It weighed 50 pounds. My legs were gone. I didn't feel like I was myself in there. Oh, obviously. Oh, he didn't knock him out. I'm sorry. His corner threw in the towel, and he was very upset about that. He was like, that guy should never have been able to throw in the towel. I can't believe he threw it. Let me go on my shield, blah, 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 blah. But everybody outside of Wilder's camp agreed that that was the right move. He was getting beaten up in there and taking a lot of damage that he didn't need to take. I'm trying to go through this fast so we can get up to this fight. So he had a million excuses, never really fully taking blame for the loss, saying like, I am less skilled, I didn't get it done, whatever. So leading up to this fight, he comes in as heavy as he's ever been, 234 pounds. Fury is a little heavier than he was last time. Essentially, it's the same, 277. In the third round, there was a great counter. The first round went to Deontay Wilder. He threw more jabs, I think, in the first round than he ever has in his entire career. Okay, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic there, but you know what I'm saying. Like, he threw a lot of jabs, set things up, and he looked really good in the first round. Second round, he kind of went away from that. He wasn't able to do it. You could tell he was visibly tired already going into the second round, trying to keep up with Fury. Fury kind of stayed in his face, making him fight off his back foot, and it was wearing on him. Third round, Fury drops him. And then in the fourth round, so Fury drops Wilder in the third round, which was incredible. It could have been over there. There was another long count controversy, but going the other way, I don't care. It doesn't matter. It would continued after that. In the fourth round, Deontay Wilder landed one of those shots right on the forehead of Fury. He was a little off balance, reaching forward, and then ends up falling down. But because it was a strike that it was a punch that started that whole sequence, it counts as a knockdown, rightfully so. Goes down, gets back up, and then he comes back up. He's a little wobbly on his feet, but he's doing okay. And then the same, they get into like a clinch situation, and then Wilder lands one on the back of the head. So behind the ear in the clinch situation. So and then Fury goes down again. So Fury gets dropped twice in the fourth round. Two times. And then after that, he gets back up and he makes it through the round. So controversy right there. So Wilder says he was given a long count twice that saved him. All right, whatever. There's your controversy for that one. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th rounds. Back and forth. Both guys look tired, but Tyson Fury is pretty much getting the better of each round. You might have one round in there for Wilder, but Wilder looks like crap. His legs are gone. Fury's tuning him up. Yes, Wilder could always land a big punch, but that's not what happened. And then in the 10th round, Fury finally puts him out with a big right hand. Wilder, actually, he set him down one more time, and then in the 10th round, he ends up landing a big right hand and putting him down for good. Wilder goes down. The ref calls it, doesn't even give him an 8 count, and that's the end of it. So this trilogy, in my opinion, is over. Please do not, I understand that people want to see a fourth fight because it was exciting. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I agree, it was. I don't see how Wilder deserves a fourth fight. He's lost all 3. right? The first one he was given a draw so that they could have a rematch and make more money. Second one, that rematch did not go well for him, and then the excuses came out. And now this one didn't actually. It led with controversy. There was controversy over Fury's gloves. They cut, they were approved by the commission. They were approved, like the team went in there and they were looking at them like, these aren't the right kind of gloves. These don't have enough cushion in them. And then you look at his gloves versus Wilder's gloves. They have a different like foam / horsehair type of deal in there. There's different things. They're both approved by the commission, and if Wilder wanted, he could have used the exact same gloves, but he didn't want to use those gloves. He wanted to use his Everlast ones, probably because he's sponsored by Everlast or whatever. The point is, this was nothing but controversy with Wilder throwing out accusations of cheating, steroids, all those things against Fury, saying that the gloves were blah, 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 even though his team approved the gloves beforehand in the second fight. They set it up for they set it up in this fight too, so that they had an excuse in case he lost. He loses and immediately afterwards doesn't want to give Fury any sort of congratulations. Fury goes over there to shake his hand and be like, hey, well done. And that Fury was nothing but complimentary of Wilder, saying that he was a tough man. He landed big shots, he's strong. Saying nothing but good things, saying he's a warrior, all that good stuff. Things you want to hear from your competitor who beat you or who you beat, right? It's good sportsmanship. There was no ill will after the fight from Fury. Yes, there was some in the lead up because Wilder was throwing that shit out there, and Fury's a showman. I don't think any of it really crossed the line. There was, some of it. People saying he was talking about Wilder's mom. I didn't see it that way. He was saying there isn't a man out there born from his mother's cunt who can beat me, right? And I don't think that's making fun of his mom. Maybe he said something else that I missed, but I didn't see that. Wilder seemed delusional. He didn't take blame for anything. He talked about how much he could bench press. He showed that multiple times on his Instagram or whatever, showing how much he could bench press. That's cool and all. This is not I'm better than Fury. I can bench press more than than Wilder. I can bench press more than Deontay Wilder. This should say a lot of things, by the way. One, Deontay Wilder, in the grand scheme of things, isn't that strong in bench press. Okay? I'm 5'8". I weigh 200 pounds, and I can bench over 400. Right? Now, that is because I was practicing the bench press when I did that. I was practicing to lift heavy in that lift, along with the other powerlifting ones, deadlift and squat. So that being said, I'm using this as a point of comparison. Could I beat Deontay Wilder in a boxing match? Absolutely not. No, because the bench press doesn't make me a good boxer, right? It doesn't even improve your punching power in a correlation that is anything significant, right? Like, I don't know if they've done, I'm sure there's been studies done, but it's a pretty well-known thing that just straight up powerlifting and working out doesn't increase your punching power, right? A lot of punching power comes from like natural, they say gifts, but really what it is your musculoskeletal structure, right? The length of your tendons, the length of your levers, the makeup of your muscle fibers, right? How much type 1, type 2 muscle fibers do you have? What's the ratio, that kind of thing. The more explosive muscle fibers you have, the more quick twitch muscle fibers you have, the more likely you are to be able to throw with speed, which equates to power. So he came out saying, it doesn't matter how much Fury weighs, I can bench press him. Okay. That doesn't mean, it seemed like he was, like I said, delusional. Right? It seems like his mind wasn't where it needed to be. I will give it to him that in the first round he looked like a better boxer, better than I have seen him. But After the first round, it was back to old Deontay. In fact, I would say it was probably worse than old Deontay. Being more tired because he's carrying around extra weight. Being more, not more, back to throwing big looping punches. Gassed on his feet, constantly moving backwards. It's hard to break those habits that you've had, and he's been extremely successful until it came to Tyson Fury. Obviously, he had his problems with Ortiz, but until he met Tyson Fury, he had no reason to change anything, right? It's the whole Tim Tebow thing. Tim Tebow could never throw a football the right way. Wasn't a very good traditional throwing quarterback. But why didn't anybody correct his throwing form? I don't know, because he was busy winning championships in college. He was busy being the Heisman winner in college. But when you get to the pros, that doesn't work anymore. That, run and gun style, the being bigger than everybody and slightly faster than everybody isn't going to get you where you need to go because everybody else is faster and bigger as well. It's the same thing here. When what you have is outrageous power and people can't take that power or don't know how to properly deal with that power, whether that be size, length, height, skill, rolling with the punches, just ungodly chins. Until you face somebody like that, you're never going to correct those problems that you have out of necessity. Right? You're just going to continue. And he had problems with Ortiz. I think he got dropped in the Ortiz fight, in one of the Ortiz fights. Ortiz is a better boxer. He was just smaller and probably 100 years old. Cuban boxers have that thing. So what are we looking at here? Are we looking at a fourth fight with a guy who took a lot of damage in this fight, didn't need to, or can we move on from this and see some more interesting matchups? I'd like to see Anthony Joshua take on Wilder because neither one of them has a title right now. I think it'd be fun. Although he's supposed to take on Alexander Usyk, Joshua is. I don't see a need for a fourth fight until they both have titles or something, or they go on 4 or 5 fight win streaks or something weird. Because nothing in this fight or the last one or even in the first one, like if you add all three, 23 rounds that they've been together or something like that. 32 rounds, it doesn't matter. Add all the rounds together and you tell me, based off what you see in those 3 fights, you tell me how Wilder consistently beats Fury. Because now, if Wilder does happen to get another fight against Fury and does happen to win, most likely by knockout, now what? Fury gets an automatic rematch. Guaranteed. He's won 3 of them already. At best, he's 2-0-1. But it's really 3-0 is really what it is. Like, we all agree with that. So now he gets an automatic rematch. And what do we see? Most likely Fury winning again. I understand for money, the promoters, and maybe for people just a fan of seeing interesting fights, I'm all down for it. But as far as like competitive boxing goes, it makes no sense and I don't want to see it. All right. It was fun. I'm not here to shit on either of the boxers or the fight at all. It was fantastic. Loved it. I was on the edge of my seat. Freaking heart rate like through the roof, sweating, like all those things. All right? And while I'm watching, I was loving it. I'm just telling you, I don't see a point of having a fourth fight other than, we want to see fun stuff. It makes no sense to me. I don't think he's going to do it. He shouldn't. All right. It was a fun boxing match. I'm interested in seeing what happens from here. Apparently there's a mandatory challenger for Fury. And now David Haye, I think. Is it David Haye? No. Anyway, there's a mandatory challenger, and because of that, we're unlikely to see, some of the other fights that we want to see. Like, obviously, Usyk versus Fury would be fun. I actually think that would be really fun. It's okay. We don't need to do that right now. Anyway, cool. All right. Now to the, my guess is less popular thing from this weekend, but still relatively interesting. All right. So I talked about this last week. I'm going to preface this because what I'm about to start saying is going to sound like I'm shitting on Mackenzie Dern. I am a little bit, but it's not her fault. Right? I'm not going to sit here and criticize Mackenzie Dern just because it's not because of anything she's done necessarily, right? Obviously, her attitude has been very positive. I have no problem with her as a person. She seems like a completely pleasant individual. I think she was a little delusional about, I said delusional again. I think she was a little crazy, maybe a little, I don't think she really understands or understood her place in the division. And I don't think that's her fault. So I just wanted to preface that before I got into it, because it's going to sound a little negative here. So if we look at what happened this weekend, Mackenzie Dern hasn't fought. We went over this already, right? We already went over Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern's strength of schedule is not very good. Right, she hasn't taken on anybody of note. Right, she has I think one good win. I think we said, yeah. Nina Nunes is her best win. I would say Hannah Cyphers, Randa Marcos, Verna Jandaroba's not bad. None of them are really highly ranked individuals. Okay, Ashley Yoder, Amanda Cooper, Amanda Hibashi lost to. Hannah Cyphers. Actually, let's try it out. You ready? Hey, let's look at her record. So if we're looking here, you see that she's gets these submissions, and in each fight she's shown a little bit of progress in her striking. I'll give her that. But if you want to see something like a complete blowout here, this is what it is. Okay, so Dern looks really clunky on her feet. Right, she uses big movements, and again, I want to preface this a little bit. It's the hype. The hype is what I have a problem with. That's what we're going to look at right now. That's why I'm bringing up all the stats. That's why I'm going to go over everything in the negativity that I'm putting out here is not against her individually. Okay. She started 0 for 12 on strikes. She throws garbage out there and looks to clinch. Right, we're talking like Ronda Rousey level of garbage striking here. Right? Yes, did Ronda Rousey have some big knockouts? Yep. Can Dern knock somebody out? Yeah, she's actually relatively athletic. She seems like she's got some decent punching power, which means she can knock someone out. So, Marina was able to pommel and prevent takedowns, keeping good distance with her teeps and oblique kicks to the knee, and she kept good distance. Another quick little side note here. Mark Smith. So when she had the pommel, she had this deep pommel, and she was pulling her over, and she was elbowing her to the lat because Dern's back was exposed to her, and she was elbowing to the lat, nowhere near the spine. Mark Smith says, "Watch the spine." This is I said last week, or it was either last week or the week before, I was going to try and make notes of the stupid stuff Mark Smith does. This is one of those things, okay? A shot that landed nowhere near the spine, he's saying things to her about not hitting the spine. That's like me punching someone in the face while we're standing up, and he's saying, watch the back of the head. I know the rule. You told me the rules before. I already got my warning. And this leads me to one of those problems I have with referees. I don't like when they're talking to the fighters and telling them about an infraction that they're about to commit, or that they are actually about they're already committing for sure. Because it distracts them from what they're doing. The fighter, that is. It's distracting. If I start talking to a fighter as the referee, it's going to distract them, and it's going to change the fight anyway. So either fucking take the point or shut the fuck up. What are you doing right now? I understand that you can give them verbal warnings for infractions that haven't happened yet, right? Maybe let's not do it in the middle of the action. If they go to grab the fence, they grabbed the fucking fence, take the point. Don't warn them when their hand is on the fence, don't grab the fence. Don't warn them after they stick their fingers in the fence, like happened 14 times this night or last night, and yank on the fence or hold position. No more warnings. Shut up, take the point, or shut up. That's it. You're affecting the fight by saying things, okay? Saying watch the back of the head does nothing. Did he hit in the back of the head? Did he target behind the ear? If he did that in a position, right? If he did that when he had control of the position is what I'm trying to say, right? Obviously, we're not in transition. We're not standing up and in some sort of brawl and things are turning around. We're spinning back fists and that kind of stuff, right? We're not in transition. I'm in position and I'm targeting and I hit you in the back of the head. There's no warning. There's no watch the back of the head. If I target the ear and I hit the ear, good for me, right? If he turns last second after I target the ear, there's no reason to warn because it was in transition. If he has his head buried and I repeatedly hit him in the back of the head, it's a fucking point. What are you doing? Why are you warning? Why are you talking to me? You're distracting me from the fight, so either take the point now or shut the fuck up. Sorry. This is one of those things that drives me nuts. And I said it a couple weeks ago or last week, whatever. Mark Smith is really notorious for this, and it's freaking annoying. All right, cool. So when Dern isn't able to bully her, back to Dern here, when she's not able to bully her opponent, which has happened multiple times, but especially in this fight, she looks lost out there, right? And Marina Rodriguez is no slouch, okay? She has got some great hands, very quick. She got on top with like 4 minutes to work in the second round. You can see over here in round 2, the reason why there's very little output from Rodriguez is because she was on her back the entire time. Well, not on her back. They were on the ground, and she was defending submissions the entire time. Dern spent 4 minutes on top and couldn't get the finish. And then you see in the rest of the rounds, like, what happened here. She was outstruck 144-49. Consistently in every round, by the way. -2. Consistently in every round, outstruck. And look at Mackenzie Dern's striking percentage. Now, this isn't always an indicator of good or bad striking. Some people throw a lot of things out there to try and mask things, to try to gauge distance, whatever. 28%. And if watch the fight, she's terrible at striking. Plus, she's bad. Like, this is a good indicator for that. 1 for 8 on takedown attempts. She's terrible at takedowns. Okay. Dern didn't land a significant strike for 3.5 minutes in the third round. Rodriguez was letting go, Rodriguez. I'm sorry. Rodriguez was letting go some like 4, 5, 6-piece combos. That was pretty cool. Rodriguez had a teep kick right to the junk in the fourth round, so that should have been a point, but it wasn't. It was just a warning. Okay. What else? Yeah, Dern just kind of got the piss beaten out of her for 4.5, like for 4 rounds, really. So, and how as a jiu-jitsu / grappling specialist, jiu-jitsu specialist, do you not practice takedowns and at least catching kicks, right? Because Rodriguez was throwing a litany of kicks at her, and she didn't a single time attempt to catch it and take her down. Not once. I mean, if I'm a jiu-jitsu specialist, that's what I'm going for. Like, I have to get you down to the ground. What's the plan here? throw sloppy strikes, wade your way in, and hope things end up on the ground. Like, the commentary team seemed really biased, by the way. I love Paul Felder and John Anik. I don't have a problem with them. It just seemed like they were very excited anytime Dern did anything. They were talking about how good she is on the ground, and oh, how good this is for Dern, and oh man, it's going to go to the ground. Watch out. This is exciting. Dude, she couldn't get it to the ground to save her life against Rodriguez. She couldn't. The only reason it went to the ground is when Rodriguez was making mistakes and walking in. This is what happens when a hype job specialist meets an actual ranked opponent who's, a modern ranked opponent. I said this a long time ago. I said this last week, and I stand by it. Mackenzie Dern is not an elite talent right now. She's not championship level. When I said it before, I got pushbacks from people saying, "Oh, well, she's just started. She's only 5 years into her career. She just started in MMA." It wasn't. I'm not saying she isn't. I understand she can grow a lot. It's the narrative behind it. It's the same shit I heard with Brian Ortega. It's the same shit we heard with Sage Northcutt. It's the same shit we hear all the time, over and over. Sometimes it works out. Most of the time it doesn't. I understand the UFC has to hedge their bets, and they back some people, especially good-looking people, mouthy people, promotable individuals, and they push their chips behind them. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Cool, on to the next one for them. It's when the public buys into that, and I have to hear about how good this guy is, how good this girl is, and how she's so dominant at this, and how he can do whatever. I can't stand that shit. I'm watching what I'm watching, and I know what I'm seeing here. Right? This woman does not have what it takes to challenge for a title. She could win, just like anybody could win. And yes, she would do it most likely through grappling and getting it on the ground. Do I think she has anything for Zhang, the likes of Rose Namajunas, Kovalevich even? Obviously, freaking Joanna would destroy her. It's just, there's nothing about her game. Like, what about have her fight against, oh, poop. Oh, poo. Have her fight against Jessica Andrade. Jessica Andrade fought for the title. She's not currently ranked. Right? She's not currently ranked over here. She's in flyweight. But put her over. Have her fight her, because she can still cut down to strawweight. Have Dern fight Andrade. Tell me how that's going to go. You tell me how you think that's going to go. What is her path to victory? Not get smashed into the ground or into a million pieces? Anyway, this is not an indictment on her skill or who she is as a person. Like I said, she seems like a perfectly pleasant individual. She seems like a decent person. I don't see anything wrong with her. She's a mother. She's got a really cool story. She works really hard. She's a jiu-jitsu specialist. She's making improvements. She's doing all the right things. She's not the number 5 ranked talent in the strawweight division. She's just not. Because she hasn't fought Claudia Gadelha, Tisha Torres, Michelle Watterson. She fought Amanda Ribas, who's ranked number 11, and lost. She fought Virna Jandiroba, who's ranked number 12, and beat her. Kind of convincingly, kind of not. She won, clearly. She hasn't fought Angela Hill. She skipped all the mainstays in strawweight. All the mainstays. And she gets to have a high publicity / high ranking fight against Nina Nunes and then jump the queue to be ranked number 5th. Did I say Kovalevich? I meant to say Jan Shannon. Kovalevich isn't high ranked anymore. I don't want to hear how good a fighter is from the promotion or the fans or anything like that. Not from fans. Sorry, it's not. They're not the problem. Because if you're a fan and you're telling me how good someone is, and you explain why they're good at certain things or whatever, I'm all on board. And like I said, you want to tell me her jiu-jitsu is world class and she could grapple with the best of them? I believe you. I've seen it. She's great. The problem is getting there, and her striking's garbage. And even on the ground, she's not a 100% finisher. I mean, most of the time she's getting the finish, but she just doesn't do it every time. It's like this worked for Damian Maia because Damian Maia took all of his opponents down through wrestling. Anyway, what's next for Rodriguez? I'd probably put her against Joanna. I think Joanna makes sense. Rodriguez should be ranked number 5 after this weekend. Dern probably dropping down. I'd probably put her, I guess, to 6 because she has a win over Nunes. She doesn't belong there. What's next for Dern? Put her against Claudia Gadelha. Maybe Michelle Watterson would be a fun fight. This is the problem. You threw her in here now. Have Jessica Andrade come back to strawweight and let's see what happens. Dude, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she can hold her own in that grappling situation and scenario, but I don't see it, man. I really don't. I think she gets smoked. Maybe 3 more years, maybe 2 more years. Hell, maybe 6 months. She improves enough to where, because with Jason Perillo, she's making improvements. Maybe she improves enough to make a challenge and make a run for the belt at strawweight. Here's the other problem. They're asking her, and she was mentioning stuff about taking on Valentina Shevchenko at flyweight. Get the fuck right out of here. No, for so many reasons. She's better than her in every way possible, except maybe pure jiu-jitsu, which isn't MMA jiu-jitsu, right? Pure jiu-jitsu, she's probably better. In fact, I'll wager to bet that she is better. I don't think I'm going out of line by saying that. Size, striking, general grappling, fight IQ, fight experience, 5-round cardio. Name a thing. Oh, yeah, that's the other thing. Dern looked tired. And she's like, maybe a jiu-jitsu girl is the one who can beat Shevchenko. Get the fuck right out of here. Absolutely not. And this is what I'm saying. That was a discussion that was being had before this fight this weekend. This woman was talking about fighting not only for the title at strawweight, being a title contender at strawweight, but going up to take on Valentina Shevchenko at flyweight? Go somewhere else with that. Please. Try to convince me of some shit like that. That's ridiculous. All right. Fun co-main event with Randy Brown and Jared Gooden. Brown just schooling him everywhere. Gooden missed weight. Not cool. That's sanctioned cheating. Move on from that. Gooden didn't look too good. Gooden looked tight, and Brown looked really relaxed and smooth out there. I don't see how Gooden could have beat him until the 3rd round. So if it turns out that Brown jacked up his toe, there was this first, this teep kick to the face. It should have knocked Gooden out, but it didn't. Gooden's tough as hell. And then Gooden continued to started to work on the lead leg of Brown, and then Brown's legs were kind of jacked up during the fight, but also his toes on his back leg were fucked up, and that was from the teep kick. So what was interesting is Brown had messed up feet, messed up legs, and still was outstriking Gooden in every round. He was a better fighter. It looked good. It's unfortunate that Brown has the losses that he does, he's been set back. Obviously, that crazy Nico Price knockout where Price was on his back, and he's got the loss to Vicente Luque. He's just had proper setbacks when he stepped up in competition. So based off what you're seeing here, it looks like he's currently like a top 15 talent, and that's about it. But he has the skills, the size, and personality to be a star for sure. But he could definitely make it into the top 10 of that division. It's just whether or not he can put it all together enough times to get there. I don't know. For me, it looks like he's almost there. Vicente Luque is no joke, obviously. Like, how do you think he would do? Because that's what I'm saying is, like, he would be a fun matchup for, like, some of these guys up here at the top. And that's what I'm always looking for when I'm looking for talent is, like, how do they match up against the top 5? It's getting there that's a problem. It's like getting past Santiago Ponzinibbio or Daniel Rodriguez, maybe even Bilal Muhammad. Like, how are you getting past these people? Jeff Neal, I think he could beat. So, anyway, Brown did really good. Brown got to do an eye poke, which was fun. No points deducted. Anyway, moving on. Elliott versus Nicolau. Macau. What the fuck? Nicolau. So, in this fight, you got to see Tim Elliott throwing crazy stuff, having fun, doing all this cool stuff. It's really weird. So, you take a look at this. So, Elliott was really awkward and hard to gauge, right? And especially in the first round. Elliott did this thing where he was like hopping on his back leg, keeping his front leg up, similar to like the crane kick from Karate Kid. It's fucking hilarious. And it worked. He's bouncing on his back leg, keeping his front leg elevated, and then throwing front push kicks with it, and sometimes snap kicks, but it was really funny. And he also did this thing where he was overextending with his like a big right hand or a right kick, and he would overextend, throw the come back with a back fist, right? A back fist with that right hand, and then a big looping left hand. Really interesting combo. It missed every time, but I thought it was interesting. Like, if that lands on somebody, that's pretty good. I think if he moved forward with it, he could have landed a couple of those. Elliott was controlling the center of the octagon with his style, and he was the offensive grappler most of the time. Nicolau countered better in round 2, and then ended up getting on top and stayed on top for like the. Oh no, that was round 3. A majority, like for 2 minutes in round 3, was managed to stay on top. But I want you to look at something. So, judging by the striking in each round, I'm surprised a single judge didn't give this to Tim Elliott. He outstruck him overall, outstruck him in each of the rounds. And he had less total strikes, but more significant strikes. So, significant strikes are ones that we really care about, right? Not pity-pat punches. Those don't mean anything. I don't know. I'm surprised. I gave it to Nicolau. Like, I did, but I thought it was closer. I thought for sure it was going to be a split decision. I don't know how it wasn't. Anyway, both ranked individuals, by the way. Where are they? There we are. Cool. Nicolau being 11 and Tim Elliott 9. I think they're both fun matchups for a lot of people. I think Tim Elliott is probably more fun just because of his style against a lot of these guys, and I wish he would be able to sit down a little bit, maybe get some more 5-rounders, as I think he's more of a 5-round fighter. Anyway, fun fight. I think Nicolau should probably take on either like Matt Schnell. He just fought recently. Bontarine, maybe. Kai Kara France is too much. Too much of a jump for that one. All right, anyway, moving on. Sabina Mazo just getting fucking walloped by Maria Agapova. So Agapova doesn't close her eyes at all while she's fighting, doesn't take them off of her opponent. It's a really good sign of like a very good counter striker and a very good striker, well experienced. Landing big shots, circling to the outside of the cage, doing everything she was doing. She wasn't running away from exchanges. She was doing what she needed to do to stay engaged, using good lateral movement, landing big body shots that were messing with Mazo, and in the end lands a big right hand that leads to the a rear naked choke that she jumps on, so gets a finish in the third round with 53 seconds left. So that was a fun fight. Chris Gutierrez versus Felipe Colares. Fun fight. Colares was light on his front legs multiple times. I got lots of notes for this one. We're starting to get deep in the weeds. It was a fun fight to watch. Gutierrez grabbed the cage multiple times in the first round, but only got warnings, which is fucking annoying because he would have lost the fight if those counted. High output from both fighters. Colares just not good on his takedown attempts. It's just, and then Gutierrez grabbed the cage again in the third while on his back, and then he didn't get points taken away. So that's the problem. Is like these rules. Rules don't matter if you don't have to follow them. All right, Alexander Romanov versus Jared Vandera. Sloppy-looking heavyweights, both chunky guys. Romanov is a really good wrestler, though. Romanov grabbed the cage to kind of get out of a guillotine, so that was cool. He got away with that one. Remember what I said like 15 times yesterday that this happened and no points were taken. 0 fucks given. Romanov ends up getting a mount at the end of the fight. To end the fight with 2 minutes left, or with straight 2 minutes of ground and pound in the second round. He finishes the fight. All right. Damon Jackson versus Charles Rosa. Jackson just looked better. Rosa kneed Jackson a little bit in the junk early on. I don't think he hit him in the junk, but he complained about it, and there was time taken, no points taken. Rosa does not move his head enough. Jackson gets away with a fence grab as well. Rosa grabs the fence, and then they're both grabbing the fence. So again, this is one of those things where it would even itself out anyway. So if people talk about like, oh, well, now we're going to get 10-7 rounds, 10-6 rounds. No, we wouldn't have. It would have been a 9-8 round. That's what it would have been because you would have had a point deduction on both sides. It doesn't matter. Anyway, the third round starts with Rosa throwing this like crazy spinning elbow, kind of like the one that. No, it's not the one he throws either. It's hard to explain. Like kind of like the one that Brian Ortega throws. Kind of like the one that Yair landed on the Korean Zombie. Kind of like that. But anyway, he throws one, opens up a huge cut over the right eye of Jackson. So Jackson starts gushing blood everywhere. It's just, and then Rosa was just getting beat up this entire fight anyway, like the whole fight. Like I was just highlighting because there were so many infractions. This was a very sloppy fight, and then there was a cut at the end of it, and then after the fight's over, whistle blows, clearly over, at least a second goes by. Jackson starts throwing late blows, and he's like, he was holding my foot, and then no penalty for that either. So here's the thing. I don't know if it would have affected the outcome, but if any of those penalties, it would have changed that fight drastically. All right, so Lupi Godinez versus Silvana Gomez Juarez. Interesting fight because Godinez is a goddamn beast. She's strong, throws hard punches, and she picks up her opponents and slams them down. So that was fun to watch. Gomez, she needs a better bra. She needs a better sports bra. Her boobs almost popped out multiple times. That's not good for the sport. I know what people are thinking. That's not okay when your equipment is exposing yourself or has the opportunity to expose yourself. It's happened a couple times. during the UFC fights, and it's really embarrassing for that individual. Sometimes it's not a good look for the sport in general. I don't think that's okay. This is not, this is not full frontal nudity things. Like, we're in there for fights. Like, you want to see boobs, there's plenty of places you can go see that stuff. She needs to figure out her, Venom needs to get her a better bra. Anyway, Godinez gets a nice armbar in the first round to finish the fight. All right, and the first fight of the night, Steve Garcia versus Charlie Ontiveros. Another bloody fight. So Ontiveros caught Garcia with a great axe kick early on in the fight and wobbled Garcia's. And he hit him again and wobbled him, but Garcia fell into him and rolled forward and got on top and dominated on top. Second round, that's Garcia caught Ontiveros with an elbow, created a giant cut on the back, like right on the side of his head. There was so much blood everywhere on him. Super bloody fight. And Ontiveros, good grief, Ontiveros dropped Garcia again in the second round, but couldn't keep the distance, gets wrapped up and taken down, and then ends up getting TKO'd. Garcia wins with ground and pound. It's stupid. That's one of those sloppy fights where it's exciting for 5 seconds until somebody gets on top of the other one. It's like, work on your takedown offense and why are you rushing in and getting taken down? I'm rambling a little bit here. That was not a fun fight to watch. Anyway, I think that's it. Those are all the fights. Yep. Yeah. So, what's next weekend? Oh, God. Aspen Ladd is taking on Norma Dumont, stepping up a weight class, fighting at featherweight, which does not exist. You want to see why it doesn't exist? There's no division here. There's no division. It's Amanda Nunes and nobody else. There is no female featherweight division. Anyway. So Aspen Ladd agreed to take this fight because I think, did Holly Holm fall out of the fight? It doesn't matter. Anyway, you got Andrei Arlovsky taking on Carlos Felipe. Weird fight. Jim Miller versus Eric Gonzalez, who has no picture. Mayra Bueno Silva versus Manon Fiorot. Julian Marquez versus Jordan Wright. Oh, God, I got to deal with that stuff. Andrew Sanchez versus Bruno Silva. Danny Roberts. Ramazan. Sajari Eubanks. Nate Landaweiler. Oof. This isn't I've seen people saying that this is like the worst card in UFC history. It's not. But it's not good. Like, this is not good, guys. No. Yeah, this is not a good card coming up. Anyway. All right. If you made it this long, awesome. Cool. What did you think of the fights? What do you think about boxing? Is boxing dead? Is boxing alive? I saw a little bit of that argument this weekend saying that, like, oh, and you said boxing was dead. Thank you, Ariel Helwani, for starting shit and saying things that don't matter. Yeah, I don't even want to talk about that stuff. Anyway, boxing was never dead, but MMA is far more interesting than boxing on a regular basis. There's more fights. There's more interesting fights. There's just better organizations that have their fighters in it, so you get to watch fighters take on the best in that division more often. So that's why I would say that MMA is better in general. They don't always have the best fights, but in general, I would rather watch. If I had to pick one, I'd be watching MMA, not boxing. All right. Like I said, what do you think of the fights? Is boxing dead to you? Is not? As MMA finally put the nail in there with this weekend with Mackenzie Dern taking on Marina Rodriguez. Obviously, no, they didn't. Um, all that cool. Let me know what you thought about the new switching. Do you like this? Haha. Do you like that? Do you not? What else would you like me to put in here? What are some other things that you would be interested in seeing? Let me know. I appreciate any input, especially if it's constructive. It means a lot to me that anybody is listening and watching this stuff in general, and then whether you're engaging with it, it makes it that much better. So I hope everybody has an amazing week. Enjoy the weather. This is, decent weather. I'm not talking about the weather. This is ridiculous. What an idiot. No, I really hope everybody has an awesome week. Stay healthy. Keep your mind right. Stay active. Love y'all.